There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
We've spent all month showcasing the biggest brands and products in both marine and power sports categories. Now, we finally get to hear from some specialty retailers that thrive in these segments. The Marine and Power Sports Roundtable, presented by SiriusXM and sponsored by 5 Axis Innovations, starts now. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight to our very first industry roundtable of the season, where we have a great show ahead of you with some great guests that are coming on tonight. And, the goal, if you've never tuned into one of our roundtables, it's really the platform that we put into place to give retailers, yes, dealers, a voice and a place where we can come, connect with each other, share ideas, and discuss important topics relative to the themes that we're showing and showcasing on CMA Networks. Of course, as I said before, we've just gone through Marine and almost finished with Power Sports. So we've kind of hand selected these retailers tonight that really have a lot of experience in these categories so that we can ask them the questions that hopefully will lead to some very interesting dialogue, which I'm pretty sure will. That is really a great way to segue into a special guest that we're bringing on to start the show. Like I said, this whole roundtable deal is a great way for dealers to connect. And this brand, it really does connect with dealers. Of course, I'm talking about 5 Axis Innovations. I'd love to invite the owner, Jody Culbertson, so we could have a few words with him and understand what he's all about and how he's now part of the CMA Networks family. Hey, Jody, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me, Ben. Very, very cool to be on this show.
It's our very first one of the season, and you can see above me here, it says it's sponsored by 5 Axis Innovations, and we're going to get into that. But while I have you here, the first thing I'm going to ask you, Jody, is 5 Axis Innovations. Many have heard of you, but I want to, for the record, since it's your first time on, why don't you tell us a little bit about what 5 Axis Innovations is all about?
Really, we're a display company that really specializes in unique displays for the automotive and audio industry. I come from a background of 20 plus years in the industry. I see what's going on out there. I understand what's going on out there. And my goal is to bring displays to all of our retailers in North America that will help them, make more money, but also give them a voice when a customer comes in, to give that customer an experience they've never had before. So we really try to listen to our consumers on all levels and really try to take on every store as it's their own project.
I mean, I have to say, I want to share a little bit of our history. I've met you a long time ago. You've been in the business a long time in Canada. And you are taking this experience with you and transforming it into services and products that really help dealers get ahead in their own space, right? So being that we are talking about marine and power sports, Jody, can you share with us the type of solutions that you can offer for these categories?
Absolutely. The power sports and marine category has taken off extensively over the last few years. And we've tried to do many different displays. We work with many different manufacturers to produce unique displays to what they do. These are just a couple that we've done in the last little while. One was an idea I had with showcasing an actual boat, looking like it's sitting on water. We did LEDs that strobe to the boat, that glow the boat up. We put a TV screen in it. Another one is a display that we built for Amp of America a while ago with the whole unique idea of a power sports concept. Just coming up with ideas so that when a consumer walks in the door, they immediately know, walking up to that display, what does it do and what is the function of that display?
And that's amazing. And everything you sit, with the customer, work out what the details or the needs or requirements of the space and whatnot, all the features on a one-on-one consultation basis. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We want the customer to come in and get excited about the display. We want them to understand it. And, we're all faced with a challenge in this world of finding staff. That's our biggest challenge. And we want a display that's self-explanatory. You don't have to walk the customer through how it's going to sound, how it's going to look. They immediately see it. They see the boat. They see the side-by-side. They get the gist of it. And immediately they're going to see you as the professional. That's our goal, is to make you the professional in your area. So if they go to 5 shops and they come into yours and you have a boat display that showcases the whole concept, you're going to set yourself apart from everybody else.
Absolutely. So obviously this is the type of product and services that many dealers would be very excited to be a part of. So on that note, how exactly is 5-Axis Innovations being a part of CMA Networks?
We've talked for years about how we can join more, and we wanted to partner in a way that we can start to do contests for all the people who come to the CMA. So the first contest I wanted to do would be a sound damping concept. We wanted to do something exciting, something unique to each dealer. And again, we're going to take this on a different level. Whoever was to win any of our contests, we will tailor the display custom to them. Okay, so we may show a display, the one we're going to show right now. We're going to show a display that we're going to do, that we're going to run a contest. You guys can launch how you're going to do it. But this is a sound damping display that we have done. I just took a picture of one of our Stinger X displays. But whoever wins this display will customize the LED panel. We'll customize the sound damping on it. We'll fill it with a speaker of their choice. If they want a Hertz, a Memphis, a Alpine, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. We will design it. We will ship it to anybody in North America, whoever wins the contest, and it will be their own sound damping display. What's cool about this, it's loaded with the music. It's got the LED panel. And what's neat about it is the customer simply walks up, presses the button. They hear the difference of what the sound damping is going to do. And what we do is we actually have a button on it that says the OEM install and the professional install, because we expect our dealers to be the professionals. And you can pretty much count on having a 95% close rate on sound damping just with this display.
That's amazing. So I know we're not in the position to tell everybody what the specific details are about the contest. Of course, we're going to get that all detailed out to you guys, and we'll make sure everybody sees what it takes to be a part of it. But Jody just said open to all North American retailers. That's a big deal. And yeah, we're going to be excited. So the next steps, I guess, Jody, we're going to make sure we get all the details down packed. We'll announce it through our networks on CMA, and we'll maybe even have you back and be able to go through all those details so everybody can get involved.
Absolutely looking forward to it. I'm very excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you for the support and for sponsoring the roundtables. It looks like we're going to have you back every show so that we can kind of look at different solutions depending on the categories that we cover.
I am very excited to come back. And, the group of guys you have on tonight are very well versed in this industry. So it'll be exciting to watch.
Well, hopefully you'll be in the back watching. Jody, I can't thank you enough for coming in and spending 5 minutes with us. And again, thank you on behalf of all of us for being a part of this.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good night, bud.
All right. Take care, Jody. Very exciting news, courtesy of 5-Axis Innovations. I mean, if you're a dealer, come on. We're talking about a free custom display built by Jody and his team. The first prize looks like it's going to be revolving around a sound damping display. And again, we're going to get the details out to you guys to make sure you can participate. And of course, we'll draw one lucky winner. A dealer in North America is going to be the winner and recipient of said custom display. So let me set up tonight's Marine and Powersports Roundtable for you. We've gone out and we've literally scoured the country to find 5 shops that represent this category, that have found much success in this category and have a lot of experience to share. And in our pre-meetings, I can already see the chemistry between them, but also the wealth of knowledge that they all share together. So I'm really excited. We've got a bunch of questions that we've prepared that we're going to be able to ask each of the guests to give their own answer, and maybe circle back a little bit to have a quick discussion about it as we move ahead. So on that note, we're going to bring them up when they're all ready. We've got 5 guests tonight, and here we go. Gentlemen, welcome to our very first roundtable.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I'm going to take a few minutes here and go around the table here so we get a quick introductions for everybody, starting right here to my left, or your right rather. It's Mr. Daryl Dahl, who is the business service manager down in Certified Radio in Edmonton. Good evening, Daryl.
Hi, thanks for having me on there, Ben.
I love your ride, man. Like, I think you might have the best seat in the house. The rest of us look boring next to where you're sitting. So very, very cool.
I just figured it was on Power Sports. So,
When in Rome. Yeah. Absolutely. Next to him to the right is Mr. Jeff Partridge. He's the owner of Fast Forward Audio Video, a super big special when it comes to marine out in Midland, Ontario, just off of Georgian Bay. Welcome, Jeff.
Hey, how are you tonight? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it should be a fun one. I'm going to go just below me here. The gentleman there is Mr. Julius Roy, representing Rouse Radio. He's the sales and customer experience out of Vancouver, BC on the west side. What's going on, Julius?
Ben, thanks for having me on the show tonight.
Oh, it's going to be a good one with your knowledge, and especially the marine side. I'm curious to see where that goes. We're going to literally go from the west coast and fly all the way to the east coast to Moncton, New Brunswick. We have the owner of Audio Crew, Mr. Bentley Burchard, joining us tonight. Hey, Bentley.
Hey, Ben. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Very, very welcome. And last but certainly not least, we're going to go all the way to Fort McMurray, Alberta, where Mr. Cole Johnson represents Audio Designs as their shop manager. Welcome, Cole.
Thank you, Ben. Glad to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right, sounds good. All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, we're here for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that is to talk marine and power sports. We've been running all last 3-4 weeks anyhow, one-on-one sessions with all the best brands, all the favorite brands that you guys all carry to some capacity. And of course, every one of you have a different style. My first question tonight, and I'm going to start with Daryl on this one, Daryl. Where do you see most of your business if you're looking between marine and power sports? And within that, what brands do you promote the most and why?
All right. Thanks, Ben. Good question there. That's in our business, we probably see about a 70-30 split for it. Right. So we probably 70% boats and 30% power sports, but the power sports is slowly gaining on the marine, and more we're getting more machines from more dealers, and more customers are starting to buy these machines in Alberta because traveling abroad just hasn't been a thing in the last while because of COVID. So more and more people are having fun out the lake using these machines. So we're seeing it's gaining real fast with the power sports. Brand wise, we like to have an array of different brands at the store, everything from JL Audio, Focal, Kenwood, JVC, Audio Control, Power Base. These are different brands that we've used and we've tried in all these different types of vehicles that we do. And we know that they work in the temperature changes that we get in Alberta from +30 to -30. People take power sports machines out in whatever weather. It doesn't really matter here. They're out in the snow, they're out in the rain, they're out in the mud. And with the marine, out on the lakes, it does get pretty warm in Alberta, +30, 35 or so. And the equipment that we put in has to be able to take the abuse from the customer. And we want it to last. So we pick the brands we find that last the best.
Very good. So you do see an increase in motorsport business, but it sounds like 70% marine still. And I imagine we're not talking big, coastal vessels like maybe we're going to hear about from Julius or from Bentley, but more smaller craft, certainly for the lakes that are around you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. For sure. Yeah. With us, there's lots of lakes, and we mainly see pontoon boats, wakeboard boats for upgrades. We see jet boats, the odd fishing boat, and then regular just leisure boats that are out for cruising and stuff. And we do lots of upgrades and then lots of full system designs for people that want something totally unique out of the blue that nobody else has. And it's always to outdo their buddy, right?
Everything when it comes to audio seems to be outdoing their buddy. But switching quickly, Jeff Partridge, you being on Georgian Bay, obviously a huge mecca for boating. I can only imagine, I'm just going to forecast here, that a lot of your business must be in marine, and surprise me if I'm wrong. But what are the brands that you kind of go to and why?
JL Audio would be my number one go-to brand. I find the product very reliable. We don't seem to have a lot of service or failure with the product. It fits really well. It's definitely our go-to. We also, do a lot of Rockford Fosgate infusion and wet sounds, etc. But first and foremost would be JL. And we do a variety of boats as well, obviously, from small wakeboard boats and pontoon boats. But I would say the vast majority of the marine that we do our cruisers, yachts, if 35, 45, 55, 65 feet. So you have multi-zones. So Fusion is a big brand for us, with the party bus and the multi-zone and being able to have various subwoofers hooked up in different, zones, if you will. So that's a big part of our business. And then the power sports, that's really starting to grow. I would say we're 80-20, but it's growing fast. So it's a lot of fun. Myself, I just recently purchased a Maverick, Can-Am Maverick, and put a big system on it, a couple of 10-inch subwoofers, and I just actually recently ordered the new upgrade kit to do the 2 subwoofers under the back seat as well. So I have the 4-seater. So we'll have 4 10s in that, and it's a lot of fun. My kids love it, and where we are, we're fortunate that we can drive that to the beach. So we have Wasaga Beach, which is one of the biggest freshwater beaches in the world. So it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we've got the right people on the show tonight. And what kit was that you put on the Maverick?
It's the Rockford Fosgate Stage 6 kit. Yeah.
Nice. Julius, let's throw that over to you. Tell us a little bit about your business in the marine power sports and what brands do you kind of promote and why?
Yeah, definitely 99% large boats, saltwater boats, from wakeboard, fishing, smaller, 19, 20 foot. Today I was walking around on a 213 foot converted yacht, previously some kind of fishing boat. So mostly we're dealing with the bigger boats. Brand wise, definitely JL. Like Jeff mentioned, very reliable, consistent product, consistent outcomes, right? We also deal with Fusion. The new Clarion line's been really successful the last couple of years. And Fusion, of course, with the multi-zone, like Jeff was saying, it's unbeatable. The party bus system for either linking a raft of wakeboarding boats together or even commanding multiple zones on a larger vessel. It's a real asset.
Okay, very interesting. Like I said, let's see if there's a contrast going out to the East Coast now. You're also near the saltwater, but I'd like to hear what your ratio is from marine and power sports and the brands that you kind of promote, Bentley.
Lately, since COVID, we're probably almost 50-50 with boats and side-by-side. Side-by-side stuff has skyrocketed. Even just last year, I lost count at about 35 Can-Am Defenders. I stopped counting after that, just that one model. I don't know where they were coming from, but.
And I find that very interesting because, there was inventory shortages also, not just like everybody thinks it's just car auto. No, everybody had inventory shortages, including the side-by-side manufacturers. But you're saying that your business has kind of been 50-50 and within those that type of business, what are the brands that you've been kind of promoting and why?
Just like the other guys, JL, Rockford, and like what Julius was saying, the new Clarion line's been really solid too. And then head unit wise, we've been using a lot of the Rockford stuff. We don't do a lot of the big cruiser boats, so we haven't gotten into a lot of the multi-zoning. It's a lot of single zone. Mm-hmm. Most of our boats seem to be, Yamaha 242s, like limiteds, 24s, 25s, and then small cabin cruisers, but, up to 35 feet. We did a 51 last year. That was a horrendous system from factory. 4 speakers and a sub on a 51-foot boat.
4 speakers and only one on how long of a boat?
51-foot Regal.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, 2 speakers and a sub outside, and 2 speakers on the inside of the boat behind vinyl.
Wow. I'm sure that sounded splendid.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Okay,
side-by-sides exploded.
Right. Okay, we're going to get into that more. Very interesting. Let's go back to Alberta and talk to Cole a little bit here. Talk to us about the business at Audio Designs, marine, power sports, brands.
I'm seeing some of the same trends as the other guys here with the side-by-sides just skyrocketing. I did more side-by-side, specifically Can-Am Defenders, in the last couple of years than I had seen in the previous 8. So we got it down now where we got some cookie cutter systems. We're just specifically for the Defenders. We're just banging them out. Tons of kicker, lots of JL, I don't see a lot of marine. We got a small lake up here, so I don't get too many boats bigger than 24 feet. We're probably, I want to say, I don't know, 80-20 for power sports to marine. Yeah, for
Very
sure.
cool.
But the power sports segment is just exploding, and we've been taking it super seriously and just doing really well with it.
All right. Well, I'm going to circle back to Bentley real quick on this. So now that Bentley, you've heard everybody's answers. Was there any that surprised you or intrigued you, or did you find yourself kind of like alone in an island in this situation?
Not really. I mean, I see it in other roundtables and other things. Every area is different.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could go from here to Nova Scotia, and like friends down there, they do completely different than I do here, and we're only 3 hours apart.
Very cool. And Cole, you being in Alberta, do you think that the trend that you are seeing with you having such success in the motorsport category, is that something that's regional, or are you surprised by any of the comments made by the other guests tonight?
I'm not surprised that some of the other guys are seeing the increase in the power sports region, where with the last couple of years, travel has been down. People are, itching to get out. They got a bunch of extra money they can't spend on their vacation, so they're gonna go out and have some fun, and throw a few bucks into their machine and just get out there and just get out of the house. Everybody just wants to go out and do something,
Absolutely. We're going to stick with you, Cole, here as we move on to our next question. And the next question, it's important. It's maybe not necessarily a brand specific question, but it's an overall thing, because we want to hear what are the important features that you guys feel are most important when it comes to the products within these categories. All right. There's a lot of stuff on the boxes. There's a lot of stuff you hear these guys repeatedly say, but I want to hear from you guys what truly are the most important features in your opinion or from your experience. So Cole, we ended with you. We're going to start with you this time.
Yeah, for sure. Number one is got to just be longevity, quality. These guys are they're beating the crap out of these things. They're out with the boys, they're showing off with their buddies, and they're pushing these systems pretty hard. So I don't want any of my gear to fail. I want to know what we're putting in there is going to last. I'm not going to see those things come back. As we talked about previously before we started the show there, that lighting, LED lighting, everybody loves it. If it has lighting in it, I'll sell 10 times more of those than one without.
10. Okay, we'll pause that right there. We're gonna let somebody else speak. Let's go to Bentley. What can you add to this equation of important features that are important?
Same thing, just the warranty, longevity of the product. If we put it in, we don't want it to fail. We don't want to see that customer back. We do when they're happy and they bring their friend, but not because of problems with their gear.
But how different is that then? Obviously we don't want any gear coming back, right? Regardless if we're selling a portable or we're selling car audio. I guess what I'm trying to get to is what features specifically to that marine and power sports type of product do we want to make sure it doesn't fail or has a key feature that we want? I can come back to you, Bentley. I want to go to Julius with this one.
Yeah, I think the biggest key that I've been really tying into is with the Fusion head units, the multi-zone. They've actually, throughout their head unit line, you'll have a 2-zone, a 3-zone unit. They've got now a remote head unit, so you can go into a stateroom of a yacht, power that zone, but then party bus without having to run a wire and connect with the other zones of the boat. Huge features. And on the wakeboarding side, Cultus Lake, a few kilometers from here, you get boats rafting up and partying. Using that party bus system, one deck is basically the source for as many boats as you can raft together. It's a huge feature, whether it's the one yacht with 4 or 5 zones on it, or it's a group of people that want to tie together. Gone are the days of running an UGS cable from one boat to the other. We can just do it via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It's an awesome feature. And I will agree with both Cole and Bentley. Reliability is an absolute must. You get a guy out on the lake, something breaks, and then you're getting that angry phone call. It's the last thing you want. From a customer service standpoint, I'd almost rather have something be bulletproof, reliable, and not maybe meet some other expectation of performance. Alpine used to put a circuit that would roll back the output of an amplifier rather than let it thermal and shut off, because you will definitely notice if your system shuts off But if it gets just a little bit quieter, trying to prevent an overheat, the customer will still be happy. You won't get that phone call. So I try and build that kind of reliability into the systems we put together by choosing products that meet those standards.
Very good answer. I like that a lot. And what was that feature called, Julius?
I forget what they named the feature, but it was rollback technology.
Sorry, I meant by fusion, the multi.
Party bus.
Party bus. Okay.
The party bus feature, allows you to link multiple stereos together without a cable, without a wire, and they can all play the same source.
Very interesting. Jeff, let's pass the baton to you. We're talking about important key clutch features when it comes to this type of gear. What do you look for?
Julius pretty much hit it all on the head there as well with the fusion and the party bus, the multi-zone, single zone, dual zone, triple zone, 4-zone. That's huge. Reliability obviously is a huge thing as well. Not having to roll a truck out to a boat or get those phone calls on a long weekend that you don't want to be fielding. So reliability is a huge factor. Bluetooth connectivity is huge. Gone through a bunch of different head units over the past few years where Bluetooth was substandard at best. So you always deal with those issues. And, in a lot of cases, we've pulled head units out. I won't mention the brands, and replaced them with Fusion, et cetera, to get away from that distance issue with Bluetooth. So,
so be wary of the Bluetooth performance on gear.
Yeah, for sure, in my opinion. So
very, very good. Okay, Daryl, let's go to you. Key features
I think that some of the key things for customers, the ease of use. There's lots of customers that are not smartphone friendly, and that means they're not multi-zone boat, multi-channel friendly either. They get into their settings of their deck, and if they get off into some left wing tangent on the deck control, then they're going to be grumpy, right? So we try to set it up so it's as easy as can be for the customer, and that's part of the demo to the customer. Once they buy it, you need to tell the guy that, you need to come in. We need to go over the system. It's going to be 20 minutes, half an hour of your time, but now you'll learn how to use it properly. And it's usually best to show the customer and his kids, because kids will just push dad out of the way and say, let me in there, dad. I don't know how to do it.
Interesting.
So you show both of them as a key, right? But it's all about them being able to use it easily and also having the performance reach the level that they want. If the performance isn't there, if they had a big demo in the showroom, and then they get in their boat and it's two different things, they're going to be going, whoa, wait a second. So we want to make sure to meet their expectations and show them the best thing possible that they can afford that's going to rock their world and rock the docks.
Very, very cool. Jeff, if you don't mind, I'm going to come back to you in a second. Julie spent a lot of time talking about that feature from Fusion. Is it because it's only Fusion that offers that type of feature? I just want clarity on that.
There is a piece from Wet Sounds that you can link a couple of boats together. It's a decent piece, and we sell a fair bit of them. But definitely the party bus, the Fusion, has definitely got that market cornered, in my opinion, hands down for sure.
Okay. And Daryl, seeing that you're sitting in a motorsport or power sport vehicle, I have to ask, what about when it comes to like dirt and overall water and all that stuff? I mean, there's everybody saying IP67, like it seems like everybody has the same rating. I am hard pressed to believe that everybody performs at the same level when it comes to that type of, rating or protection. I just want to hear from you what you think of that.
Yeah, no, it's got to perform, and it doesn't matter if it's on the lake or in the mud. We make sure to test things on different vehicles, and we make sure to pick products that have been tested at the factory already to know that they're going to work. Like this machine here, we've had it on its side in the mud, covered in everything, and had it playing on its side with the JL speakers still rocking while we're getting winched back onto our feet again. So we make sure to test things good, and customer can expect the same kind of performance. So if you see it on our Instagram, you can see the photos of it. So
amazing. All right. So we spent the first part of this discussion talking about gear and brands and stuff. I want to dive in a little bit to the business side of things, because we got dealers listening in. You guys are, wealth of experience between the lot of you. How have you found success individually as businesses connecting with your local marine or power sports community? Because that comes up a lot, right? Every time I ask a product expert, what advice do you have for these dealers? The first thing they're going to say is, you got to connect with what's going on in your area, son. Like whether it's the boating, or the yachting, whatever it may be. So I want to hear the stories here and how you guys stay connected so that you have that constant flow of referrals / business coming in, if that makes sense. And I'm going to start with Julius.
Yeah, Ben, I think, everybody's aware of the boat shows that go on in the community. If you're in an area in Vancouver, they have a huge boat show at BC Place Stadium, fill the place with boats. And even if you don't have a booth at a show, which can be costly, if you get down there with a handful of cards and just walk around, talk to the people that are displaying, mention your name, your business, talk about your profile if you can, pass out a few business cards. That's definitely one way. Getting out to the marinas, a lot of them have message boards. You can pop up a quick sign there and promote yourself. Meet the mechanics. You got to find those ins. But once you spend that time doing that, I find our previous customers are a best source of our next customers. And when you can find solutions for the boat dealers or the mechanics and whatnot, if you can be a resource for them, that leads to a ton of great business down the road. But once you've built that up, it's self-replicating. It keeps on building for you, and you don't have to keep getting that booth at the boat show and trying to drag some customer's boat in there or set up some big display. It can be very expensive and not always return on that investment of time and money. So that's probably my best recommendation is we see a lot of our new clients coming from our past clients, our successes on past systems. A lot of guys walk in and say, yeah, you guys did this boat for my buddy and I want the exact same thing for my boat. Or you get the one up guy and he wants, you did my buddy's boat and I need my boat to be louder, right? So that's always a nice one to fill.
Very good story. Very good insight. Let's go to you, Jeff. Do you share something similar or do you have a different story?
Yeah, very similar. Where we are, we do a lot of in-water boat shows, whether it be Barrie or Rillia, in the surrounding areas. And then the marinas, there's a group of marinas. It's changed hands a couple of times. It's Maple Leaf Marinas now, and they own probably a dozen marinas in the area. So they do different events. So we try to get out and do the in-water boat shows there and, get out and meet people and shake hands and, get in with the managers and the staff that are there. We've gone as far as putting actual display boards in the channel release at these marinas. So then, there's a display board that I've provided them and their sales staff and can walk over to the board. And obviously they're not going to know as much as we do, but they can go over and go through the basics and get a feel for them and then send them our way. So yeah, getting out and being a part of the community. Me purchasing a side-by-side was a big thing with our local dealer. And, that resulted in more business coming my way for side-by-sides and then showing my system off, et cetera. So yeah, getting out and shaking hands and making those relationships and being consistent with it. You don't build a relationship and then just kind of disappear. You got to be there every spring, every fall, throughout the summer, and do what you can for them as well. Give them some special deals and help them out. And I like to help their staff out as well. So, provide the staff at the marinas and a special discount. And these are the guys.
A little greasing on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are feeding you business, so you need to take care of them. So, yeah.
Very much so. Back scratching kind of scenario. I like that. Daryl, how can you add to this scenario and how Certified stays connected with this community?
Yeah, we just recently did the Edmonton Boat and Sportsman Show, which was our first actual event in Edmonton now that kind of the COVID stuff has cleared up that we went through. And the Boat and Sportsman Show, we had our booth we actually had our jet boat, we had this Razor and a truck on display. So that way we could show all three different types of machines that we work on, of course, right? And the Sportsman Show gets lots of leads and lets us meet all the different power sports dealers that are in the area that have a booth also at the Sportsman Show. So we connect with the dealers that are like just in the area generally, but when there's a show, you can super connect by these guys coming to see your booth and you going to see theirs and back and forth. It's pretty much key to visiting everybody all the time. With Power Sports, we've sponsored some local rides for off-road rides that are in Rocky Mountain House, Alberta, where we've actually gone and sponsored the event as one of the vendors kind of thing. And they give us a little area to set up a display. We bring these machines, put our tents up, play music for the event while they're having their evening barbecue and dance kind of thing at the campground, and ends up having all kinds of people come over and visit us, talk to us, let us go walk over to their machines, give them some ideas, trade stuff back and forth on what we can do for them. And then those customers eventually end up feeding back, coming to the store, coming to check out what we got.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that. A little grassroots on the field kind of involvement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's fun. And we take the staff with us and go out and do some trail riding, and it gives everyone the experience of what it's like. It's awesome.
I like that. Very, very cool ideas. How about you, Cole? What are you guys doing over at Audio Designs to stay connected?
Well, Julius definitely nailed it when he said that your past customers are your best source for your new ones. The guys that do, like, especially with the power sports, we're huge in that. They all ride in groups. They all know each other. So, I mean, like, you got to really nail it for your first couple, and the rest it'll just come. They'll keep flowing in. These guys, they got to one-up each other. They and again with the dealerships too, like we've done some work for the local dealership here, and then they got the name in our brain. I mean, these guys already kind of know that we're offering stuff better than these dealer options for roughly the same cost, so they're just sending them straight down. So definitely get out, get to know your dealers, just go see them in person, let them know what you can do for them. I mean, it's pretty easy. You just got to be there, like the other guys said.
Absolutely. Or you can be like Jeff and just buy one and say, hey, you want to do some business? Well, after
Absolutely.
spending the money
I mean,
right there.
if you can't afford one, go to Walmart, buy a Power Wheels. They got little mini versions. Yeah. Throw some rock lights on it. Throw some speakers on it. You can slap it in your showroom. You can put it on your lunchroom table. Just make it so that the customer can see and feel whatever you guys are offering, and it just makes it that much easier.
Amazing. Bentley, I know that you were recently at a show, but I'd like to hear what tricks you've had up your sleeve that helped audio crew advance in this segment.
Julius and Cole touched on a lot of it. A lot of it's, do a good job, and those guys are going out on the trail. Their buddies see it. Their friends see it. It's a word of mouth, especially down here. We've gone as far as, we see certain people come in with certain boats, and we know what crowds that they're in. So we'll, same thing, grease the wheels, give them a good deal, do a little bit better stereo for something that was more in their budget, but that brings in more boats. And those boat shows too, like we just had the boat show here, 3-day event, boat, power sports, whatever. Take the displays, talk to people, and we always get returns from that boat show every year. And talk to the dealers when they're there.
I'm sorry, Bentley, I have to bring this up. This is totally off the topic, but I have to bring it up. So Bentley and I were at the same show this last weekend in 2 separate parts of the building. And I felt bad all weekend that I didn't take a chance to go visit him at the shop. Meanwhile, he was in the other hall with his own booth, and we didn't even cross each other once. I just wanted to say how silly.
Well, that just proves you didn't walk around to look at the show.
I didn't have time, but I wish I did. Julius, I want to back with you. There's some great answers, some great ideas, particularly being on the grassroots side of things. And somebody mentioned, taking the staff out. I think it was you, Daryl, that mentioned taking the staff out. I want to hear your comments on that, because I think that's pretty cool. If you can bring the staff out on a boat experience so they know what these products actually sound like in the environment. Like, it's one thing to hear it in your garage, your shop. Yeah. It's another thing to hear it wide open on the water, as an example.
Yeah, for sure. And, fortunately for me, Ben, most of the boats that I'm working on are in the water. We're not doing them in the shop. I'd probably say the overwhelming majority of the boats we work on are in the water. So we do get to hear them in the water, although not underway. But I think the one thing I would probably circle back to on this is probably the non-grassroots and what's become the traditional is getting your message out online, Facebook and social media, your website, having those big glossy photos, maybe even shooting videos of upgrades you've done to inspire others and getting those messages out. Maybe you can get some boating groups on your page, and incentives them to like and share your page by offering some kind of bonus or discount. I'm not a big fan of discounts. That word, it's like swearing when I say that, but it's
Priority service.
whatever
Priority
you can
service.
do to bring attention to the value that you bring as a company and the products that you offer to the marketplace. You want to promote that in every way, and especially I think more so with marinas and probably motorsport, although I can't really speak to that as much, is to get it into a community. When you go down to the marina, everybody down there that's got a boat moored at a marina knows everybody else down there. So when a problem comes up or whatever, it's like, oh, hey, I got a guy for that. You want to be that guy. You want to be that referral to get that business, that opportunity. So that would be my feedback on that.
Very well said, Julius. Thank you for that. Jeff, I'm going to circle back to you one time here. You mentioned something that really got my attention. Did you say you put a remote display on location where these customers are?
Yeah, like a display board. Yeah, so a couple of 10 inches in the bottom, 2 amplifiers, some 6.5s, 8-inch, and 770s. A couple of different head units, 3 different head units, a remote, and a pair of wake towers. Yeah, and just put a display like that. Obviously, there's money to be invested there. It's a fair chunk of money to have a couple of those out at different marinas, but it definitely is paying off for sure.
Okay, very interesting indeed. Guys, I love the questions, the answers rather, not the questions. I love the answers that are coming through. And we're going to proceed to, again, on the theme of business now. We talked about how we stay connected to the customer. Our fourth question for this evening revolves around inventory. Obviously, let's get this out of the way. Inventory has been a challenge across the board. So we don't need to dwell on the fact that, I wish everybody had more inventory. Knowing this, and knowing that you guys are obviously successful in your own domain, what are some of the must-have items to keep in stock for this market that have a high turnover? This is really important information for dealers that are looking at taking that step. Maybe they do marine and they want to look at power sports or vice versa. So what are some of the must-have items to keep in stock, in your opinion, that this market has with a high turnover? So let's start with Jeff.
Definitely 6.5-inch marine speakers. I have tons and tons of them in stock. You need to. Just your sport grill, your classic grill. Not necessarily LED because you're doing cash and carry for a lot of this stuff, and your customers are coming in on Friday or Saturday on their weekend, heading up to their boat, or they're at their boat and they have a problem, so they zip into the store. Those do-it-yourselfer guys, and the JL 6.5-inch. The basket just fits, so you don't have any issues when they walk out the door. That speaker is going to fit when they get to the boat. Some of the other brands, unfortunately, the basket's slightly different, and if you have to shave 1/8 of an inch off, if you're a cash and carry type of guy and you're fairly handy, you don't want to be pulling out a jigsaw and taking 1/8 of an inch off of that hole. You're going to bring those speakers back. So having the right stuff and having a lot of it in stock. Same with the basic head unit. They're fairly simple for people to put in. So those are the two key things for me is cash and carry. The vast majority of our business, I would say 95% of the business, we're doing the install, but we do have a lot of cash and carry customers, so it needs to be simple.
Okay, so we're talking head units and that ever important 6.5-inch coaxial. Anything to add to that, Julius?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the sentiment. And head units, for us, it's the Fusion line. I try and keep a good stock of the entire line because you just never know what's coming in. And of course, with the past couple of years, you don't want to be short a head unit to put together some $5,000 or $10,000 system. So that's definitely key. I think on the speaker side, subwoofers, you're running singles on some smaller boats, so you need maybe a 2 ohm. You need 2 or 4 on a larger boat. So having drivers in different ohms so that you can put them together in different packages. Really, at marine season, I started stocking up in November, and sort of kept going. I probably am overstocked, to be honest, but I didn't know what was going to happen this year with the shortages. But it's pretty much across the board: speakers, amps, subs. I'm big on any location I can get a 7 in that had a 6.5. I'm big on trying to do that everywhere. Bigger is always more. It's pretty much everything, Ben. And yeah, I'm wake towers is probably the only thing for us where I don't need to be overly stocked on it. So everything in the category except for that.
Fair enough. Bentley, I know you have that 50-50 blend. So how do you choose giving advice to a new dealer when it comes to high turnover items that you got to have in stock?
It's like the guys are saying, just a good variety of, different sizes. I know what Jeff's saying about the JL 6.5s. It just fits anywhere. Some guy comes in with an old boat with 5 1/4s, the JL's going to fit. Whereas everybody else, you've got to start cutting and trimming. And when JL got their hand on designing a bit with Clarion too, the new Clarions fit the same as the JL. So it's just a different price point to fit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you agree with the basically the coaxials is a must have if you're going to pile up on something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Different diversity on amplifiers and stuff. I mean, like Julius was saying, you just try to keep a little bit of everything in stock because you never know. Like the guy calls you up and you go over the phone and you've seen pictures of the boat, but you haven't seen it face to face, and it shows up, and then you've got the opportunity to go up to a 7-inch where he didn't think he could. Well, if you don't have them in stock, you're not doing the upsell.
Interesting. You mentioned amplifiers. Is there a type of amplifier? When I mean type, as in a 4-channel, a 5-channel, that you seem to be moving a lot faster than others?
Probably at least 80% of all the amps on boats are all 5 channels now. Because most, even boat manufacturers, a lot of them aren't even putting amplifiers on boats. Some do, but most don't have them. So instead of going a 4-channel and a mono and this and that, they're usually 5 channels just to run the whole boat, because they're usually never coming with a sub from factory. So they're wanting to add a sub, and then they want to amplify the speakers. So you might as well do it all in one chassis.
Okay, so 5-channel amplifier is interesting. Okay, Cole, mostly motorsports on your end. Let's hear what your list of must-have turnover items are.
Yes, sir. Definitely agree with Julius on a little bit of everything except the wake towers. I mean, the more you can have, the better. We all know last couple of years it's been tough, so we just try to keep it all. Talking high turnover, I mean, these cash and carry guys, they like the easy install stuff. So almost every manufacturer that's doing marine and power sports now, they have some form of Bluetooth soundbar that are just bolt them on, hook them up to your battery, plug them into Bluetooth, you're good. Like we like those for the guys that want to just do it themselves. It's super simple.
What's a top soundbar for you? Just curious. Like what do you do?
Well, the kicker ones are new, so I don't know about those yet, but I'm definitely a big kicker guy, so high hopes. Wet Sounds has always been our main seller. They just work. I know that they're very tough. We had about this time last year, we had a flood in our store, and we had about 5 feet of water in our showroom.
5 feet of water?
About 5 feet of water in our showroom. Yep. So lots of stuff was damaged, but I still have a Wet Sound soundbar that is on display, still kicking after about a week of being submerged, and she works fine. So
nice.
We like to sell those because we know they're tough.
You know what? Speaking about flooding the showroom, if Certified had a flood, I'd jump into the boat that's there because I know there's always a boat in the middle of the showroom. Daryl, going to you. We're talking about quick turnover stuff that dealers should definitely have in stock when it comes to these categories. What do you think?
Yeah, well, besides the stuff like having speakers, an array of amplifiers and things like sound deadener and the right wire and that for boats, it's the mounting hardware products. So if you're going to have JL Audio Vex pods like in this machine, you need to have different clamps for different sizes tubes that the machines have for the roll cages. If you're going to do marine tower speakers, the tower speakers are going to have different size tower bars. And if you don't have the right mounting hardware for the guy that wants to come in and buy them, if you don't have his size, it's either going to kill the sale, or else you're going to have to order it and he's going to have to wait, and things like that are kind of key to making sure you at least have stock of a couple different sizes to try to take those people out of the market when they want to cash and carry, or they want it installed in 2 days. Make sure to have those things in your warehouse so you got it right.
Absolutely.
With the power sports stuff, that having an array of different sound bars, we find having different models helps you, good, better, best with the customer to be able to show them some different options. You can start at a power base as our top, and then we go down to a DB Drive or a Servant Vega and let them hear the difference between them all, and then they can decide. And those are just a great way to use that as a sales tool. But with Marine, it's having different amplifiers and products like that in stock. And I just wanted to touch on another thing on power is a big thing. And, every vehicle comes into our shop, we test the battery using a battery tester. And we always show the customer what their battery status is like. And it doesn't matter if it's a boat or a UTV or a car, batteries get destroyed easily in Alberta, and they sit out in the snow and they sit in a storage thing in minus 30. And, we want to make sure that the charging system is up to par first and make sure the guy's battery is good. So make sure that your shop has a good battery tester so you can test it, because you can sell the guy a battery and upsell him on wire and connections for his battery. His connections might be too small for the amount of current that you're going to run. So it's a good upgrade.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing that I didn't even think about until you just said it right now. Cole, I'd like to give you an opportunity to kind of think about what everybody said and if you had any comments on it.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with Daryl, especially also being up in Northern Alberta. Batteries is a very common discussion. These machines come in with pretty small ones most of the time. Anytime you're doing anything big, make sure that you have the batteries to put in these things while you got them in the shop. I mean, the mounting hardware, for sure, 100%. You can't install a wake tower if you don't have the gear to put it on there. So you got to make sure you got all the different sizes and adapters and all that stuff. Again, more add-ons. I mean, lighting is huge. It's pretty easy if you get a machine in the shop, you're doing a bunch of audio, you go, hey, you want to throw some lighting on that? Or even like I got a drawer full of just white LEDs, because I mean they drive these things at night. They don't have dome lights or nothing.
Yeah, lighting, huge thing to have on hand for a quick turnover.
Yeah, everybody appreciates just a simple little $10 LED white light on a switch. I mean that
or
just
a
little
full
things
out
like
rock
that.
light system with RGB control. I mean,
Absolutely.
It can go either way. It can go either way.
Absolutely.
Daryl, you said something that I think is really important that I just want to touch on before we move on to our final question. You said accessories and wiring. I think we should take 2 seconds here to talk about, is particularly Marine world. You got to have the right wiring and all that stuff set up. I don't want dealers to think that, you can just buy the product and start putting in the way that you do. I just want to go to Julius for a second, right? We're talking, you guys are on the coast. So salt, all that type of stuff. Like, am I right to assume what I just said?
Can't be overstated, Ben. Couple years back, I'm on a boat that had been done maybe a few years before that. Guys having problems, doing a little troubleshooting, inspect some speaker wire and see a little corrosion on the ends. Just start cutting it back, You go back an inch, go back a couple inches, go back a foot, and I've got corrosion all the way back to the point where this, whatever's left of it, piece of wire, will not
conduct
move signal. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's corroded solid. You got the wrong wire, and I'm not going to call it any brands, but we got what is essentially standard home or car audio wiring. Making a switch for dealers listening to like a brand like Anchor is a Marine spec cable. This is what they use to build a boat. That's what the boat manufacturer is using, is a quality, although expensive, cable for using on a boat, especially on the coast with salt water, salt air. And this is a piece of wire, I got to tell you, that was nowhere near the water. It was up on the top third deck up, attached to a tower speaker, and absolutely corroded a mile back. And I've seen it with power wire and other cables that absolutely did not get wet, but were exposed to the salt air, and absolutely you can corrode a foot back, 12 inches along, a piece of 4-gauge power wire to the point where it will not move current.
Okay, so I'm going to take what you just said, Julius, and I'm going to go to Jeff, who does a lot of boats as well, but nothing to do with saltwater. So I'd like to hear what he has to say about this issue about the right cabling quality and wire, Jeff.
Absolutely, it's mandatory. I'm not interested in selling any low quality cable. People trying to cut corners to save money. That's the worst area to cut corners, in my opinion. You need to have the right RCA's, the right speaker wire, the right power wire. It's crucial. That's the backbone of the system. And if you don't get the backbone right, then you're wasting your time with the rest of it. So it's absolutely paramount that you get the proper wire and spend.
So marine grade only for you, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thanks for that, guys. I just thought it was an important part. Thank you, Daryl, for bringing that up because, although it might not think of it as a high ticket, not a high ticket, but an item that turns over quickly. Well, if you're selling things quickly, you're going to need that type of wiring. So let's just make sure that the guys listening in are attention to that. I want to go to the last question here. And the last question here is really important to me and it's important to our audience. And I kind of saved it for the end because this is where I want you guys to dig deep a little bit. I want you guys to remember when you guys first got into these categories and the struggles that you had and what you had to overcome to become successful in these categories. And the question is as follows. What advice would you offer 12-volt dealers who are looking into entering either the marine or the power sports segments today? Right now where it stands, not where you guys were years ago when you started, but based on the climate, based on the availability of product, the innovation of product, and where the market is. Okay, so I'm going to start with Bentley on this one.
They just got to jump in. It's like a new model of car coming out. I mean, you take the experience from the car and you go into that next new vehicle. So power sports are no different. It's another car. It's just you got to learn a new vehicle. It's a new avenue. What do you have to do to tear apart this new side-by-side or these new boats that are coming out to integrate with the new Yamahas that have this tablet-style dash? So you're starting to do OEM integration on a boat now, where before it might have been a bad deck, but it still had RCA, so you can integrate with it easy.
Okay, so you're saying if you guys are into car, all the skill set that you've learned is transferable to a degree. The rest you just got to get in there and do it.
You just got to start.
Okay, because I do get a lot of those guys like, we do car, we don't really touch that other stuff. In my mind, I'm like, what do you mean you don't touch that other? You're leaving so much business on the table.
It's lost money.
It's just lost money. So I'm trying to get from you guys who have found success in these categories to see if I can get to the bottom of this. Let's go to you, Cole. You're a shop manager. You see both sides, right? You see the bay, you're talking to the customers. What advice do you have for dealers who are considering getting into these, categories?
Sure. I'm going to say 10 years ago, power sports was like this. The product selection was nothing. Nowadays, everybody's got stuff. There's so many manufacturers making specific products. So if you want to get into it and you want to make money doing it, use that to your advantage. Look up these machines, figure out who makes, just drop in kits, stuff that you don't have to mess around with and make them work and waste your time. Just use what's available now because there's so much of it. Huge piece of advice. Don't put MDF in boats or side-by-sides.
I like that one. I don't know if any of you guys are going to top that one.
Use HDPE, expanded PVC, waterproof products. Become friends with your local Line-X Rock Guard dealer and use that to your advantage if you are building custom stuff and get them to coat your products and they'll last forever.
Cole, I want to comment on something you said there. I've been hearing a lot that a lot of the older guys that have been in car audio for years are having fun playing with these side-by-sides and stuff because it kind of brings it back to the old days whereby you're not dealing with 24 volts out and, high pass and band pass and summing and all that. It's just back to its kind of roots in a lot of ways.
For sure. Yeah, it's simple. It's you're starting from scratch. You got a deck and 4, you got an amp, you're just worried about stereo sound. Yeah, you can play with it. You can really have lots of fun with it. You can get really crazy with your ideas because, I mean, these machines, the styling on them is just aggressive. So you can get aggressive with your systems and make them cool. And you're not so worried about having to blend it in and make it, you know, OEM
Loud and proud.
and just, yeah, loud and proud. Exactly.
Awesome.
You nailed it.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Cole. Daryl, let's go up to you. Give yourself, you know, you're looking at yourself as just being in the business for some time. Now that you know, what do you have to say to that person?
Well, you want to, I think demo is key, and having products in your showroom that you can use to demo to your customer and show them what you guys can do. So whether it be a machine like this with your own, like a new updated sound system in it that we've installed, or something like we have a demo cart here at Certified Radio, and our demo cart is a portable system we can take outside to somebody's boat and demo it in their boat. And we can let them hear what marine speakers are going to sound like. We can let them hear a sub box in their boat and actually hear and experience what it's like to hear a single 10-inch or dual 10-inch or dual 12-inch if they want to hear that. So the demo cart's a cool toy that we use in order to demo stuff to people.
Is it a toy or is it a tool? Because it sounds like a tool.
Yeah, it's a full tool. We use it for demoing into big rigs. A customer wants to hear a sub box, we get him to pull up outside. We'll take it out. We'll hook it up in his car and let him hear it. But if a store doesn't have a demo board, build a demo cart. Then you can do mobile displays and stuff, and you can show people what stuff can sound like in their own vehicle. And we'll have people tow their boat all the way to the store just so they can hear what it's going to sound like in advance in their own boat instead of a demo board. But we do try to have all the different things covered. We have this machine in the showroom. We have a set of tower speakers on roof mounts that we have with JL audio speakers up there, so customer can hear them and stand back, 40 feet away kind of thing. Then we have a separate power sports and marine demo board in the store. So we kind of got everything here covered. So it's pretty good. But having the demo cart, if you're a new shop, is something simple and easy that you can build that'll help you immensely.
Awesome. Great advice. Thank you so much, Daryl. Let's go to you, Jeff. Sure. What advice do you have?
A lot of the same advice as the rest of the panel here. The other thing is training. Training is big for me, in my opinion. Keeping your staff and your guys and your installers up to date. Try and get them as much information and training as possible. Keep them up to date with the latest and greatest stuff that's coming out, and make sure they're on the edge of that. And they know it inside and out. That's crucial, in my opinion, because then you're able to stick and move and put the right product in the right vehicle or in the right boat. And that's probably the single biggest thing is being aware of everything that's available and training.
Training. That is always an asset, and probably some really sound advice to get the knowledge before you invest. Because maybe you go through all the training and you're like, I don't like this stuff. Then you might have saved yourself from a little bit of a disaster. But absolutely. Okay, Julius, let's go to you.
So a couple of pieces of advice for somebody that's looking to get into the business. First and foremost, product choice. I would not try and get a bunch of lines. I would try and find that, one or two lines, or maybe even just one line to start out with, where you can focus your brand and build that one out. And then as you go and you find a hole, you say, okay, well, now I need another product. Then you can reach outside. So if you're using JL, you've got head units, sub speakers, amps, you've got it all, and you've got range inside that line. M3, M6. There's lots of products. The amplifiers, there's a huge range in the amplifiers. Great product to go with. But pick a solid line that can fill your need and then grow from there. Don't come in with Wet Sounds and Rockford and everybody all at once. Keep it small. Keep your your system builds as simple as possible. I see a lot of boats I go out to that have had installs, and the customer has no idea how any of it works. He basically says none of it works. And then you get on there and you play around and you're like, okay, well, you get this working and then you get that working because you know the gear, right? You've worked with it in the past, whatever. It's too complicated for the customer because the system wasn't designed with simplicity in mind. So in that early stage of the sale, it's called qualifying. Ask those questions and really ask them, what do you intend to do with this boat? How do you use it? How do you want it to work? Don't saddle your customers up with some super complicated multi-zone thing or some head unit that's got way too many features, everybody's going to go out on their boat, grab their phone, and get a playlist going off of, either iTunes or Spotify or something like that. Make it simple for them, okay? And lastly is on the installation side. Buy good wire, sell good wire. It's expensive, and it's going to save the customer aggravation, and it's going to save your shop money. Do not install cheap wire. Do not think it's you're going to get away with XYZ. It will come back to bite you at some point. Build integrity into your sale by selling high quality marine grade wire. I can't overstate that enough. RCAs. I get in a lot of boats and I see huge bundles of RCAs because guys are using prepackaged, they're putting a 6 foot in where they needed a 2 foot or a 1 foot. Planet Audio makes ends and a cable. You can cut it to length for your boats. We use this in all the boats we do. And you attach the end on. If the cable needs to be shortened, you can remove the end, shorten the cable, and attach it again. It basically screws on. It's a great product. It's not cheap, but it's perfect for marine use. And we've had no failures on that. We've been using it for probably 5 years now. Killer product, and it keeps the mess to a minimum. Don't like seeing I don't know why it happens, but you see these 12-foot RCA in a boat and 6 feet of it is bundled up behind the deck. I don't know what's going on with that. You went out to the boat to do the job and you didn't have the right thing, so you just
it's called inventory, man. Like guys just not managing their inventory right or know about what you just talked about. Julius, we're nearing the end. I want you to give you an opportunity to comment on everything you heard here and round out what we're talking about when we're talking about this advice that everybody's provided. Thanks, Ben, and great advice from everybody. I think you got a bunch. Cole and Bentley hit it. Pick the right products. Qualify the customer, create a simple system with reliability in it, and do that demo like Daryl said. Get the customer out there, show them how their source, right, their phone, when they're running Bluetooth, if they don't have the volume turned up, they're sending a dirty signal into the head unit and they're blowing speakers. That's going to happen unless we do our job as the retailer and help them understand how their boats to work. I tell all my customers, don't let your friends run your show. This is your show. You run your show. If they want to listen to a tune, you set it up for them. Make sure that volume's up. Make sure it's set up for success, right? Very, very cool. Bentley, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of reflect on what everybody said here and hear your thoughts.
Oh, everybody's had really good ideas, and it's pretty much where everybody should start. Start with good products that you've got good backing that you can stand behind. It's building it from the ground up. So if you got the wrong wire, nothing else matters. If you got the wrong gear, it didn't matter what wire or whatever you put into it. So you just got to build everything, like Jules was saying, is a clean, simple, something that the customer can use. If it's too complicated, it's just not going to work. Very, very sound advice. Guys, I hate to say this, we're at the end. We've covered the entire gambit. You guys are amazing guests. Literally, every single one of you added so much to the conversation from your own little corner of the planet with your own experiences brought forth. I think anybody who's watching this tonight has certainly taken away some genuinely important information that'll certainly affect their business as it is now, or maybe what they're planning to do. So on that note, Daryl from Certified, thank you so much for joining us. Jeff from Fast Forward, of course, Cole over at Audio Designs, as well as Bentley from Audio Crew, and Julius Roy from Rouse. I hope you guys had a good time like I did, but I really look forward to having you guys again on a future industry roundtable. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Thanks, Ben.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night.
Thanks so much.
You guys later.
Cheers.
Well, there you have it, guys. That was our very first industry roundtable all about marine and power sports. What a great crew of businesses that came together tonight and shared their ideas and shared their thoughts on everything that is marine and power sports. I know you guys must have learned something. I know I did for sure. Okay, just in closing, I want to make sure that everybody tunes into the very next roundtable. If you like this format, I know I do. Our next roundtable is scheduled for May 11th, where we're going to have some of the top dealers to discuss about Jeeps and motorcycle audio. So those two categories, Jeeps and motorcycles, are on the menu for the very next roundtable slated for May 11th. Make sure you tune in then. Of course, I want to remind you to continue tuning in to CMA Networks until we switch over to motorcycle audio. That is the next theme. That's the next session going down starting Thursday, April 21st, and it goes right through to Friday, April 29th. We've got some great brands presenting in the motorcycle segment, another hot segment that's been really gaining traction within the 12-volt industry recently. Last but not least, if you haven't checked it out, I'm going to keep on reminding you, check out our new website, cmanetworks.com. Totally revamped, brand new interface, super easy to use. Search for your best training videos or your favorite training videos, either through brand, by category, and even by trainer. You got a favorite trainer, go ahead to their page, and all the videos that we've ever done with them can be listed there. Wow, we made it. That's it. I want to thank everybody who came on the show tonight, especially all the retailers. A special shout out to Jody Culbertson from 5-Axis Innovation for coming on, announcing the contest, and sponsoring the industry roundtables. It certainly means a lot. Thanks for watching this CMA Roundtable presented by SiriusXM and sponsored by 5-Axis Innovations. It's been a night. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
Yo, roll it down. I am. You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?